I am a junior at the University of Cincinnati, and I have smoked weed every day for 14 months. I want to be precise about that number because imprecision is how people lie to themselves about habits, and I am trying very hard not to lie to myself about this one. Every day. 14 months, including the day I had a statistics exam, including the day my grandmother called from Accra and I spoke to her for 40 minutes and then hung up and immediately went to my car, including Christmas, including one Tuesday when I was already sick with a fever of 101 and my roommate Darius looked at me and said, "Bro, you're literally dying." And I said, "I know," and did it anyway, and then watched Planet Earth for 4 hours wrapped in a blanket, feeling both terrible and completely at peace with being alive. I am not proud of every single day, but I am honest about them. I came to college with a 3.8 GPA, a shower caddy from Target, a mother who told me I was going to change our family's trajectory, and absolutely no idea what I was doing. I still have the shower caddy. The 3.8 is now a 3.1, and I have not told my mother about the trajectory update. She calls every Sunday. I answer in a clean room with clean eyes and a story about studying that is mostly true because I do study, just not always in the sequence she imagines. She imagines wake up, eat, study, class, study, eat, sleep. The actual sequence involves several steps she did not imagine, and one of them occurs in a 2003 Honda Civic parked behind the engineering building at a location I have mentally named The Spot, capital T, capital S, because it deserves proper noun status for what it has meant to my college experience. The Spot is a parking space next to a dumpster that nobody wants but me and 3 other people who have also found it through the specific social network of people who need a place to be unbothered. There is Marcus, who is pre-med and who I think smokes because being pre-med in America is a specific type of suffering that requires management. He carries a planner with color-coded tabs and stress eats gummy bears while studying and has not slept a full 8 hours since 2021. He quits both the weed and pre-med approximately once a month. He quits neither. He is the most disciplined person I know who is simultaneously falling apart with impressive organization. There is Kezia, who is an art major and who everyone assumes smokes the most because she is an art major and she has paint on her hands at all times and she owns 4 different types of rolling papers. She actually smokes the least. She mostly comes to the Spot to sit quietly with people who are not asking her to explain her thesis project, which apparently involves large-scale textile installations and the colonial history of cotton, and which her professors keep describing as ambitious in the tone people use when they mean concerning. And there is Tyler. Tyler is from a suburb of Columbus. Tyler discovered weed at college the same way people discover a religion in their 20s, with the complete conviction of someone who believes they are the first person to have ever found it. Tyler speaks about weed with the confidence of a man who has done 11 days of research and now considers himself an authority. Tyler once told me that weed really just opens your mind up, you know? And I said, "Yes, Tyler, I know. I have been doing this longer than you, and my mind has been open this whole time. It is not a door. It does not require a key. It is just my mind, and I live in it." I did not say any of this. I said, "Yeah, for sure." And then we sat in the car in comfortable silence, and that was actually the better conversation. There is a language to this life that nobody teaches you and everyone who lives it already knows. You trying to match means I have some and I am willing to share the experience, but not the entire supply. And by asking rather than offering, I am politely establishing that this is a mutual transaction and not a donation. I'm good means any of 14 different things depending on context. It means I already smoked. It means I have class in 20 minutes. It means I am currently experiencing an emotion I cannot process in company. It means I am trying to cut back. It means I am not trying to cut back, but I want someone to believe I am. It means I am genuinely fine, and this is a genuine refusal. Learning to read "I'm good" correctly is a social skill nobody puts on their resume, but everyone at this school has developed. "It's not even that loud" is always a lie. It is always loud. The person saying this knows it is loud. Everyone in the room knows it is loud. This sentence exists only to make the next 45 seconds feel less like a mistake before the window is opened. Do you have eye drops? Is the sentence that ends every session, asked urgently by someone who has a class in 30 minutes and a professor who makes direct eye contact when she talks and who the last time looked at me for a full 3 seconds in the middle of a lecture about macroeconomics, and I did not blink and she did not blink, and it was the longest 3 seconds of my academic career. I have a system. The system has been refined through 14 months through trial and error. Mostly error. The error phase was freshman year and involved a soft-serve machine incident I will not describe in detail except to say that it involved a 25-minute wait and a dining hall employee named Cheryl who I think about sometimes when I am trying to be more careful. The current system, eye drops always, gum always, a hoodie with a hood I can pull up if needed because there is something about a pulled-up hood that tells the world you are on your way to somewhere else even when you are standing completely still. I eat before I go to class because eating after means I am in a dining hall making decisions with the judgment of someone who has recently decided that 3 plates is a reasonable amount of food for a person my size. I drink water. I sit in the middle of the lecture hall, not the front where participation is expected, and not the back where the professor's eyes drift when they are looking for someone to blame for the energy in the room. The middle is where people who are present but not volunteering to be noticed. I am always in the middle. The thing about smoking every day that people who don't do it don't understand is that it stops being a special occasion very quickly. The first time it was an event. It was a Friday night and there were 7 people in someone's dorm room and someone had a playlist ready and someone else had snacks that felt curated and we were all performing the experience of having an experience. It was fun. It was also theater. Because after a while, it is not a Friday night event with curated snacks. It is a Tuesday at 4 p.m. in a car next to a dumpster, and it is quiet, and Marcus is reviewing flashcards, and Kezia is sketching something in a notebook, and Tyler is watching a YouTube video about the history of cheese with the same expression he would watch with a documentary about war, and I am just sitting there, existing. Which sounds like nothing, but there is something to be said for a place where you are allowed to just exist without anyone needing you to be more than that. College spends a lot of energy asking you to be something, to have a major with a plan and a plan with a timeline and a timeline with a GPA attached and a GPA attached to a future that someone in your family is already describing to their friends. The spot behind the engineering building does not ask me what I want to do with my life. The spot just accepts that I am in it. I do not know if that's healthy. I know that it is real. My mother doesn't know. My father knows. My father found out at Thanksgiving by looking at my eyes the way fathers who were once 20 years old know how to look at their children's eyes. He looked. He knew. He said nothing at the table. He found me later in the kitchen and he said, "I'm not going to talk to you about that. You know what you're doing. I just need to know you're being smart about it." I said I was being smart about it. He nodded. He went back to the living room. That conversation lasted 38 seconds and was the most my father and I have communicated about my actual life in the 3 years I have been at this university. My mother still doesn't know, and my father is keeping my secret for reasons neither of us has discussed, because some alliances do not require a stated agreement. They just form, quietly, between people who understand each other without the explanation. I have a professor named Dr. Anand who teaches developmental psychology and who I am convinced either knows or strongly suspects and who has chosen the most interesting possible response to this suspicion, which is to make eye contact with me slightly longer than necessary when he says something he wants the class to actually remember, like he is sending it specifically to me, like he looked around the room and located the person who most needs to hear the thing he is about to say and decided that one. Last Tuesday, he was talking about delayed gratification, about the research on people who can resist immediate reward and how they perform over time. He looked at me for approximately 2.5 seconds. Then he moved on. I thought about it for the rest of the day. I am still thinking about it. I'm passing all my classes, I want to say that, not to excuse anything, just as a fact that exists alongside the other facts. 3.1 GPA, every assignment submitted, not always on time. There is a professor who has heard the phrase, "Is the late penalty still applying?" from me so many times that she now responds to my emails before I finish the question. But submitted, present,
attempting. I am aware that passing is not the same as thriving. I am aware that present is not the same as engaged. I am aware that every day is a long time, and 14 months is longer. And the version of myself who arrived here with a 3.8 and a shower caddy and a mother's belief in my trajectory is still in here somewhere, looking at the current version with an expression I cannot read clearly. I am aware of all of this the way you are aware of a check engine light. It is on, you see it every time you start the car, you are going to deal with it, you are dealing with other things right now, the car is still running. Some nights I sit in the spot alone, not because I am sad exactly, just because the dorm room is loud and the library is performing and the dining hall requires a level of social readiness that varies day to day, and sometimes
The only honest answer to where do you want to be right now is a parking spot next to a dumpster where nobody is asking me anything. I sit there and I watch the engineering building. There are always lights on. There are always people working on things I do not understand yet. Once, at midnight, I watched a girl on the 4th floor pace back and forth in front of her window for 20 minutes. Not in distress, just thinking. Just the specific physical movement of a mind working something out. I watched her until she sat back down. I do not know what she solved. I hope she solved it. I thought about what I am working out. I am 21. I am far from home in the specific way that is also freedom. I have a mother who believes in a version of me I am still trying to catch up to. I have a father who looked at my eyes and decided to trust me anyway. I have a parking spot next to a dumpster and 3 people I did not choose who showed up anyway, and Marcus with his color-coded planner falling apart in organized rows, and Kezia who makes art about things that hurt, and Tyler who is annoying in the specific way that means he is also still figuring it out, same as me. The car is still running. I am going to deal with the check engine light. Just not today. Today, I have a 3 o'clock lecture and a quiz on Friday, and a mother calling Sunday, and a grandmother in Accra who I have been meaning to call back for 11 days, and a life that is still in the part where the shape of it is not clear yet. And I am here, in the middle, not the front, not the back, exactly in the middle of figuring it out.